As a Roblox creator, one of the most powerful ways to engage your audience is by creating trailers to post to social media. Either that or create inexperienced cutscenes to drive storytelling. We do this all the time at studios I've contracted for, whether that's Sawhorse, Red Manta, or any other game. Why do we do this? Because it works. Cutscenes excel at grabbing attention, progressing the storyline of your experience, and generally keeping your audience engaged by providing important context. But creating cutscenes is an incredibly technical task. Like, why in the world do you need an engineer to make an art piece? This needs to change. So that's why in this video, I'll show you how to create any cutscene you want in seconds so that you can put the video in video games. Let's get started. So the first thing that you want to do is grab Cinematic Suite from the Roblox Creator Hub. Now, if you're still on the fence about purchasing it, there is a free demo available in the plugin description where you can try absolutely free. Just see if you vibe with it, see if it's what you need, and if it is, that's great. If it isn't, absolutely no feelings hurt. A thumbs up would be great if you thought it was a great product. But I'm going to assume that you already own Cinematic Suite, so you can head on over to Roblox Studio and check that you have Cinematic Suite enabled in your plugins bar. Once you check that, then you can go ahead and click Cinematic Suite, and it'll go ahead and initialize. Cinematic Suite is best used with a gamepad of your preference, but it is totally possible to use the mouse and keyboard, though I'd recommend increasing the camera heaviness to smoothen out your shot. Now, I have a Xbox controller here, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in, and you'll see a notification on the screen very soon saying that the gamepad has been detected. Now, this is not a Roblox standard feature. This is exclusive to Cinematic Suite, just to kind of let you know that your controller has been unplugged or plugged in. This is very helpful if you just have intermittent connections with your controller. But go ahead and move around, and you can sort of like get a feel for how to move around with the controller. Now you can increase the camera heaviness, which kind of like makes the inertia, you know, it's like smooth. It's like moving a really heavy camera is what this feels like. You can increase the camera speed, which kind of like means the movement, but the heaviness can sort of stay the same. Now, when you want to record a cutscene, just go ahead and press the X button, and you can sort of move your camera around, even zoom in, and then press the X button to stop that recording. Now go ahead and press the Y button, which is also the triangle button on PlayStation, and you can play it back. Now let's say that you hate the shot. I hate this shot. You can press the hamburger button and it'll clear the capture, and you can just go ahead and try it again. And so I can go 3, 2, 1, and then capture my shot again. And let's say I'm happy with that. I can give it a name, test capture, and then export that. So now I have a capture that I can play back, and I can either play this back in Experience or just record it straight into OBS. It doesn't really matter. So this can also be exported as a script. And by the way, if you're ever confused about any of these buttons, if you just hover over them, there is a description at the bottom, a tooltip at the bottom that describes what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and export that as a script. And if I look at the Explorer, I have a cinematics controller, and here is my script that plays that when I join it. So now I can play my experience, and as soon as I join, I should be seeing that cinematic. There you go, with the black bars and everything, and I am ready to play the game. You see how easy that was? That was literally in seconds. There's a cutscene that plays when you first join the game, and then boom, you're already in. This is the idea of Cinematic Suite. It's just getting you into a cutscene as soon as possible. That's literally just it. So as you've seen, you have experienced how to record a cutscene, and play it back, and export it as a script so that you can play it in your game. So that should be enough for the basics of Cinematic Suite. Though in this segment, I want to talk more about the advanced features because Cinematic Suite is built for professionals who use this day in, day out. And very often I'll get feedback from these users that help me improve features, create features, or fix bugs. And if you are one of those users, I highly encourage you to join the Discord server where you can provide feedback, and that helps me make Cinematic Suite a better product for you. One of those features that we discovered was that when people record cutscenes, oftentimes they make a mistake, just like when you're recording something with Gyaza. So oftentimes you stop the recording and then you go back. And this is one of those quality of life features where the camera will go right back to where you started, because it just assumes, hey, well, if you clear the recording right after you just stopped it, you probably want to go back and redo that shot. If you don't like that feature, there is a way to stop that with return home after cancel. Just turn that off. I do plan on making this a lot more intentional so that you don't have to switch anything. I'm planning on making it so that if you press the hamburger button twice, that it just returns the camera back, instead of just kind of assuming. The user can be more intentional with this rather than the program kind of trying to read your mind and maybe not quite understanding correctly. So as you can see, there are a ton of features in Cinematic Suite, a lot more than I want to cover in depth in this video, but I highly encourage you to just go through the settings, see what you like. There's a lot of features like being able to record upside down, FPV mode, Dutch angles, and the idea is really to create a palette of creative tools for you to create the vision of your cinematic that you want. But probably more essential for your workflow, I want to talk about playback so that you can really get started playing back multiple captures in your game as soon as possible. Unlike cutscene plugins before it, Cinematic Suite does away with cutscene scripts that are several thousand lines long. It is the first to piggyback off of the Roblox animation system, which was a clear advantage when making Cinematic Suite. Cinematics export as keyframe sequences, and if you're familiar with animations, when you upload keyframe sequences to Roblox, they upload as animations. So this means that you can load your cinematics by ID even from the client. This makes using tooling like Rojo a lot more approachable. You don't need to sync 1,000-line scripts through Rojo, so that makes it a lot more scalable when you're handling multiple cutscenes. So while Cinematic Suite calls them cat files, they are 100% backwards compatible with the Roblox animation system, and they don't aim to be proprietary. So you can feasibly load animations into a rig with a root part and another base part with the name of camera. Subsequently, this also means that you can open your cutscenes in the Roblox animation editor or even Moon Animator. So you can use these tools, for now at least, to trim your cutscenes or even compose them together. However, if you're looking for an easy way to just get started playing several cutscenes back to back, you can use the plugin to group together different captures into something called a composition. I'll demonstrate that by grouping together 3 captures that I have right now and exporting that as a composition. So in Cinematic Suite, I have 3 captures. One is named Test Capture, another is named Car Pan, and the third is going to be XDemo V2. So I want to select these in order. So I want to play Test Capture first. So I'm going to go ahead and select Test Capture first, then Car Pan second, and then XDemo third. And notice how I'm using the checkboxes to put them in order. Then I'll go ahead and press the Group as Composition button, and that will create a composition called Test Capture Composition. I play that, and you can see how these are just playing back to back. So first it was Test Capture, then Car Pan, and now XDemo. As you've noticed, you can also export this as a script in your game, and now I have a cinematics controller with the file that I want to play in my experience. Now, if you want to take advantage of the Roblox animation system and upload this as an animation, you can just simply right-click and save as an animation, and that will upload to Roblox so that you can load this in as an ID in the cinematics controller. Right now, I'm just testing the experience, and shortly you should see Test Capture play first, the Car Pan play second, and then the XDemo V2 play thirdly. And after it's all said and done, the camera should return back to the character, allowing your player to play your experience normally. So these are the basic tools to get started playing multiple captures back to back. Though in the future, I plan to create more advanced tooling so you can do things like modifying the camera splines in 3D space. I think that this could be a very helpful feature because it's highly requested for people to record a cutscene and then want to modify that path after the fact. For now, congratulations! You should now be able to play back multiple captures in a row and then export that for playback in your experience. So if you've made it this far, you might be an advanced user. So I really want to go over programming and scripting because I've gotten a lot of requests for a basic programming or scripting tutorial for how to use Cinematics Controller so that you can really get it to work with your experience and tell a story. So to get started with the API, go ahead and open Cinematics Controller. At the top of the file, you can see all the API for the properties, the events, the methods. It gives you certain events that are reminiscent of the sound class in Roblox, like stopped, ended, did loop. You also get additional things like looped, very similar to how sounds work. If you turn on looped, it just loops through. Playing, same thing with sounds. Time position, same thing with sounds. SempTy time code, which is meant for professionals who are using this with time code things, but it's there if you really need it. Loaded file, which just tells you what file is loaded, as well as other methods that are essential, like load. Load is how you tell Cinematics Controller what file that you really wanted to play, whether that's a keyframe sequence or an ID of an animation on the Creator Hub. You then tell Cinematics Controller to play that file with the :play, and then stop that with :stop. You can also do things like add time callbacks, which allows you to trigger different things that go on in your environment as your cutscene plays. If you change your mind, you can also remove those time callbacks, and then you can also clear all time callbacks so nothing is fired. You can also do things like set looped. There's also a bunch of setters and getters, and once you get to this section, you kind of get into the more advanced side that you probably don't need to touch, but it's there if you're an advanced user and you really need to do some really heavily manual stuff. And of course, at the bottom, there is an example script that you can take, copy, paste, do whatever you really want with it. As a programmer, I really like examples because I can get started as soon as possible, just getting something working and then modifying that to see what other APIs work and everything else like that. So when you export a cinematic, Cinematic Suite gives you a play on join script. So go ahead and open that, and that is going to be the script that interacts with Cinematics Controller so that you can really modify all the behaviors for the cinematic playing. So let's say that after 5.5 seconds of my cutscene playing, I want the day to change to night. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Of course, I already have a script already pre-made, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that, but I'll explain what's going on. So here is a janitor. You can also use maid, you can use trove, you can use whatever garbage collector that you really want to, but garbage collectors really help here because once you do something, you can declare how you undo it in the same line, and that really helps with the organization and just making sure that when you change things, you can change it back so that things just don't look wonky when the cinematic ends. So right here, I'm loading a cutscene by ID. In this case, it's this ID. And then I'm storing the time of day so that I can restore that later. Then I'm adding a time callback after 5.5 seconds to change the lighting time of day to 0. And then I'm telling my janitor when the cleanup is called to then restore the time of day back to the setting that we initially stored. Cinematics Controller is going to wait 3 seconds, play, and then once it all ends, it cleans up with the janitor. So I'm going to go ahead and test the experience in 5 seconds after the cutscene plays. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. The time of day should turn to night. And then after the cutscene ends, the time of day should be restored and the environment is restored back to default. For the scope of a fundamentals tutorial, that pretty much covers most things. Like I said, there are many more features that I plan to add, including timeline editing, but that is for the distant future. I plan to continuously update the plugin, especially now that top experiences are now using the plugin. I really appreciate the support, and I look forward to pushing many more updates to the plugin in the future as time allows. Thank you.